When we think about long-term professional success, it's not just one big climb to the top. It's actually more like conquering two very different but equally important mountains. First, you've got to build your brand. Then, you've got to protect everything you've built. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, it's a great question, isn't it? You see them all the time in your field, people who suddenly seem to be everywhere, landing the keynote speeches, attracting the best clients, getting all the attention. Are they just smarter than everyone else? Or is there a strategy at play? Well, spoiler alert, research shows it is absolutely a strategy. And that strategy is all about climbing these two summits. The first summit is the climb to build your reputation, to become that recognized, visible expert. The second summit, which is just as critical, is the climb to secure the financial future you've worked so hard for. They definitely require different skills, but they are completely connected. All right, so let's gear up and start with that first summit, the journey of going from being really good at what you do to being known for being good at what you do. This is the art and the science of becoming a visible expert.
It all kicks off with your personal brand. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Personal brand sounds like some fluffy marketing term, right? But it's actually really simple. It's just the combination of your visibility and your reputation. Or, as the old saying goes, it's what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Think of this climb like leveling up in a game. There are clear stages. You might start out as the resident expert in your own company, the go-to person on your team. Then maybe you become a local hero, known around your city. From there, you could become a regional rising star, a national industry rock star, or hey, even a global superstar. It's a clear path, and you get to decide just how high you want to climb. So why go through all this trouble? Well, to put it bluntly, it pays. Big time. Research shows a direct, powerful link between how visible you are and what you can charge for your work. People are willing to pay a serious premium for the peace of mind that comes from hiring a well-known expert. The higher you climb, the higher your rates go. Simple as that.
Okay, so every climber needs the right gear, right? What's in the toolkit for this ascent? Well, here are some of the critical tools. They all do one main thing: help you build your platform and get your voice out there. We're talking about everything from foundational stuff, like a book to give you instant credibility, to the absolute modern essentials, like killer SEO so people can actually find you online.
All right, take a breath. Let's imagine you've made it. You've reached the peak of that first summit. You are a recognized expert in your field. Now, this is where everything changes. A huge shift has to happen. Your focus has to pivot from building to protecting. And this is so, so important. The very mindset that got you here, that aggressive, risk-taking, all-out hustle, it's not the one that's going to keep you here. The game completely flips. It goes from pure offense to smart defense, from accumulation to preservation. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. On the left, that's your wealth accumulation phase. It's all about growth, it's the rocket ship, you're shooting for the moon. But on the right, that's the preservation phase. This isn't a rocket ship anymore. It's a fortress. The goal isn't just rapid growth, it's about stability, endurance, and making sure that what you've built lasts. Okay, so let's get practical. How do you actually build that fortress and fortify the summit? Let's open up the playbook. It really comes down to a few key strategies and one very important number. And this is it. This is the magic number, according to a deep dive from Morgan Stanley. If you want to truly preserve your wealth, and that means making sure your portfolio keeps its value after you take money out, after taxes, and after inflation, you need to be targeting a 7% annual return. So where does that 7% come from? Is it just a random number? Nope. Think of it like this. Every year, your money has 3 very specific jobs to do for you. You need about 4% to cover your living expenses. You need another 2% just to fight off inflation and keep your buying power. And you'll probably need about 1% for taxes. You add all that up, and there's your 7% goal. So how in the world do you hit that 7% target without having a heart attack every time the market dips? It's all about how you build your portfolio. Just look at this chart. That wild red line, that's the S&P 500. What can happen when you're 100% in stocks? It's a roller coaster. But now look at that purple line. That's a classic balanced portfolio. 60% stocks, 40% bonds. See how much smoother that ride is? It smooths out those terrifying drops. That's the goal, a less stressful journey that still gets you where you need to go. And that really gets to the heart of it all. This is the golden rule.
Wealth preservation isn't about trying to avoid all risk. I mean, that's impossible if you want to grow your money. It's about being smart, being efficient. It means taking on just enough risk to hit your goal, and not a single bit more. It's all about being intentional.
And speaking of risk, there's another big one we have to talk about. Basically, the danger of just plain overpaying for stuff. This chart shows something called the PE ratio, which is just a fancy way of measuring if the stock market is cheap or expensive compared to its history. Think of it as a price tag for the whole market. When that line spikes way, way up, it's a huge warning sign. A preservation mindset means having the discipline to not get caught up in the hype and buy at the very top.
Okay, so we've scaled two pretty different peaks today, haven't we? One was all about building your reputation, and the other was about protecting your wealth. But as we wrap this up, it is so important to see that these aren't two separate trips. They're two parts of one single integrated journey. And really, here's the bottom line. This is the single most important thing to take away from all this. Your personal brand is what builds the value in your career, and your wealth strategy is what protects that value for the long run. One creates the opportunity, the other makes sure that opportunity leads to lasting security. They are two sides of the very same coin.
Now, I get it. This might sound like a lot, a whole journey up two mountains. But if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, just listen to this incredible quote from architect Sarah Susanka. She thought she had zero time to write a book. So you know what she did? She treated herself like a client and literally scheduled the time. That one tiny step changed everything for her.
So there you have it. The roadmap for both climbs is laid out right in front of you. The only question left is, what's your first step going to be?